The mission of LifeCycles is to build young men of character in a Christ-centered bicycle touring adventure program focused on urban teens, available to everyone, and with a mentoring program to guide young men into adulthood. We base our hope on the key verse from the Old Testament, Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This is LifeCycles. This is the Long Blue Line. Six years ago, we had two nephews that lost their dad to cancer. He left a wife and 7 children. I took 2 of the 3 boys who were age ready, and we rode. We went to Montana and Wyoming, and I came away from that feeling, if someday I could do this on a larger scale, there are a lot of young men who could benefit from a kind of challenge like this in a positive and encouraging setting. That became LifeCycles. There are too many boys growing up in a 3rd generation of fatherlessness. They don't have a positive role model. LifeCycles stands in the gap and help them make it from their teen years into adulthood.
The goal is to reach boys and to help them to grow into adulthood, but the reality is we're ministering to families.
Fell in love with the vision immediately. The idea of helping these boys have a positive male role model in their lives. And it was incredible to know that not only could I meet my personal goals that I have set for myself, but to help these young men accomplish something that they thought was impossible.
Let's find boys who need to be in a challenging environment, in a different environment, and dare them to dream. Let's do it on bicycles because it's a healthy way to get around. It's an empowering, opportunistic way to get around. It provides instant freedom and joy. And let's do it in a culture that is doubling and tripling ridership and appreciation for bicycling and safety on the roads as America falls in love with bicycling all over again.
I love to see the positive change in the boys throughout the year. I love to see a boy that comes in unsure of how to pedal and how to coast and go uphill and downhill and changing his gears.
So we introduced Niagara Falls for a couple reasons. 1, the big goal. 2, to work on the word impossible. The boys grew up in a lot of environments where people are telling them they can't do this, they're not capable of that, that's impossible. And I just think teenagers in general, they don't have a concept of what the word impossible means. And that's a good thing. We should let them find out. They only learn what's impossible either by trying it or by having a bunch of adults tell them all the things that aren't possible. Many of the boys had never camped before, and they said, "Well, I don't camp." I asked, "Do you sleep?" And they smiled and chuckled. I said, "Well, then you can camp."
I had joined LifeCycles about a month before they were going to go on the Niagara trip. And I had rode bicycle a few years ago, but it had been a while since I'd ridden. So I wasn't too confident in my own abilities. I rode with them for about 4 weeks, every Tuesday and Thursday, and some Saturdays. At a time where there was a lot of family issues going on, LifeCycles was really a family for me in those times. And it was just a great group of people I could lean on when I needed them most.
I'm going to ride with Nathan, Seth, and Caleb today. We've got what emerged by the time we went on the Niagara Falls trip was boys had advanced from a collection of a handful of disconnected boys with no relationship to one another, no experience together, to a group of people who at least could understand they knew one another in this context. They'd been together 3 days a week now for 4 months. By the time they left, they were starting to develop bonds that they may not have recognized. Those bonds were solidified during the trip. 19 of us camped every night for 8 days, cooked all of our meals.
Every night there were chores that the boys had to do, so they had responsibilities that they had to look into.
Is discipline. Discipline means to train or exercise to improve a skill, and can sometimes feel like punishment. As you ride today, try to list the ways your training sessions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays before this trip helped you to develop discipline.
So nobody got a free ride, and it became a great exercise in teamwork and shared leadership. We had days with real serious elevation gain and some big hills the boys still enjoy laughing about. And we had days that were a lot more flat. We had days that were rural and days with a lot of traffic.
It's really amazing that when a boy is on the road and he's unsure that he can make it those 30, 40, 60 miles that day, that you can look back at the end of the day and show him that he was able to do something he thought was impossible.
Way to go, man. Way to go.
I wasn't just proud of myself, I was proud of a lot of the other riders actually, because I mean there was a lot of them who were younger than me, and just thinking, wow, they're doing this. That's great. I wish I was doing this years ago.
So, if you got energy left, today's the day to burn it. Don't burn it all by noon, but feel free to burn it, everything you got today, and it may take all of it. Niagara Falls was about them. It was never about the waterfalls.
There's something really unique about being out in nature and watching the miles go by. And whenever you look out upon the horizon and you know that somewhere out there is your finish line. But as you go, you're building up endurance and you're building up character. And that's really what we want to give these boys, is the opportunity to build their character so that later in life, no matter what comes at them, they're going to be able to face that with courage and with bravery, to know that tomorrow is not going to defeat them, that this is going to help them in their future endeavors.
There's room for more boys to come and catch this same excitement and vision. There's room for more boys to come and dream impossible dreams. Oh, you're going to ride to Niagara Falls? And they did. Oh, you're going to ride 500 miles in Prince Edward Island? They will. Yeah.
Imagine boys coming together year after year after year until there is a legacy of hundreds of them who've come together to dream together, to do life together, growing together. And over time, they create something special collectively and learn something special about themselves individually. These are people from different places, different home environments, different education environments, different family environments with different dreams. They're all being brought together to grow and mature and to follow their dreams. Over time, they become part of a legacy.